This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
On the show today, we heard from Eddie Maguire about what his son has been up to, and it's actually an extraordinary sporting achievement in America.
Oh, it certainly is, Nat. After that, we were talking about, Giants forward Jesse Hogan broke his thumb in a toilet on a bus. So he jammed it in there. He broke his sort of. You straight away, all the women and Natalie.
Who uses the toilet on a bus, you animal? So we do talk about using the toilets on public transport and the downfalls, and you're going to hear from a flight attendant as to why their job is truly awful.
Our mate Lutzi joins us from Brisbane. He gives an update of what's going on with the weather conditions over there. Obviously, you're following the news. You will know.
It's pretty full on. Classic Australian actor David Wenham dropped by to talk about his latest project in which he wears the tightest pair of jeans I've ever seen a human being fit into. Extraordinary.
And Jeremy McGovern. He's amongst others.
Hello.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Nat, normally when I hear that song, it keeps me up all night long, but it wasn't the case last night.
What kept you up last night?
The Perth Wildcats going down by 1 point.
Oh, Sean.
With 2.8 seconds to go, the great man Jesse Wagstaff nailing a three-pointer.
The long bomb. And that was a clutch move. That it takes a cool head to be able to do what he did, and he nailed it. And we're like, that tied the game, and we're like, here we go, overtime.
OT. As soon as we'd hit that shot, I said to the missus, 2.8 seconds at that stage. Look, it was 2.8. They revised it 2.9, just 1/100th of a second. But I said, they're going to score here.
It's a 10th of a second, but okay.
10th of a second. They're going to score here. Because the Wildcats' Achilles' heel is defending, full stop. And sure enough, the inbound pass came in to Dellavedova, who was playing a really quality game, and he really led that team.
He's a quality player.
Chris Golding was the one who had the hot hand along with Ian Clark. Ian Clark. He's just a guy down the street, and he
he's the guy that your dad knows from the Bowls Club, isn't he?
He does.
Ian Clark.
And he's played in the NBA, and he's played in the NBL, but that was the highest score he's ever shot.
Of course.
And he was just doing the same thing as Chris Golding, coming off the screen at the top of the key and just dropping a three-pointer left, right and centre. That said, I was so angry, but also I was happy that the Wildcats put off an effort because yesterday, Nat, I wasn't convinced.
We had a conversation yesterday, and because the match on Saturday was so incredible, the game that they played here at their home court in front of an absolutely rabid Red Army, where they came back from, 18, 20 points down. It was an incredible comeback. Dylan Windler dropping the long bombs from all over the place. He was amazing. They played defence. It was an incredible game. And you think, it just felt like that was their grand final, and that they would be tough emotionally to get up from that. But geez, they took it to them and on their home court, Melbourne United, and until Saturday, the Wildcats hadn't beaten Melbourne this season.
No.
So, they are hot at home.
Yeah.
So, and we thought they'd get blown away.
I absolutely thought they'd get blown away.
They stood up.
They had a terrific mindset, and you can see it. Like Bryce's eyes, you could see it in his eyes that he was there to play. Everybody else who was on that team who played. Christian Doolittle, he was an absolute machine.
Yep.
35-plus points, rebounds, the whole lot, assists. There was just a couple of guys who just fell off at the wrong time.
Leave them alone.
I know, but when it comes to big-time games, it's moment by moment, right?
Yeah.
And everything counts, particularly in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And just to see the opposition, Melbourne that is, being able to, once the Wildcats dropped a three-pointer or worked really hard to get a nice shot away, then the opposition go up and just take it to the hole and get a lay-in.
Yeah.
Give me strength. Do you want to hear from John Riley just quickly?
Okay, sure. All right, hang on.
Wildcats coach?
Yep.
What I would say is you saw our team throughout the season just fight and find ways to win and give yourself a chance to win. You can't ask for anything more to give yourself a chance like that. So, great series, disappointing that we're the losers of it, and you digest it and you move on.
Doesn't really sound inspirational at times, does he?
No, but when they lose, you can tell he feels it. Do you know what I mean? He's not one of those coaches who goes, all right.
When he feels it, he sounds exactly the same when they win. He feels it too. But
stellar season. Well done to the Wildcats to go down by the narrowest of margins against a quality side. It was a great game and high scoring. That's a high scoring game.
Yeah, because they don't play defence.
No, neither of them do, clearly.
Two things to look forward to. Will Bryce Cotton sign on with the Perth Wildcats and or stay in the NBL?
And chase the money to Japan or somewhere.
Second, after 6 championships, will Jesse Wagstaff play on for another season?
I mean,
Great
there's enough there.
performance.
There's enough there for him to go, I could do this again.
Oh, the
There
evidence
was enough
suggests
there.
that when the games are on the line, he's a man who can play.
Leadership-wise.
Most definitely,
He would
Nat.
leave a very big hole.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
Another champion AFL player won't be playing in round 1 of this season, Nat, and it seems to be just adding up left, right and
By
centre.
round 1, you mean O-round?
O-round, yes. Jesse Hogan is the one at the GWS Giants.
So he's the Coleman medalist.
Yep,
like
reigning
had
Coleman
an
medalist.
absolute belter of a season last year.
Broke his thumb just in the last week.
Bummer. What, in a practice match?
No, very interesting enough. Hopefully Jason McCartney, who's the football manager, will tell us how it was done.
Very unfortunate. Obviously, he's just unfortunately jammed his thumb in the door. It was on the bus on the way home, so the toilet door. So initially thought it was not too bad, but it was swelled overnight. Thought it was, maybe lose his thumbnail, but yeah, wasn't to be. But it's only a temporary thing. We don't know how long. We don't think it'll be too long. It's just a pain management thing.
The toilet door, Nat, got him on the bus.
Got him. Here's a tip.
Yeah.
Don't go to the toilet on the bus. I know it's convenient that it's there, but gross. Gross.
I think guys are more likely to go to the toilet on the bus. I mean, if they're going to do a wee, I'm sure that when we used to go down to Geelong, we used to catch the bus back up to Melbourne and then off to the airport and stuff like that. You'd have to have a run at some stage, but...
No, it's just not that far. It's not, you're not driving for hours on end.
Still 50 minutes.
Yeah, just hold on till you get to the airport.
I know it wouldn't happen to the women much, but we did hear of
Emma Driscoll has an unfortunate bus toilet story that she told us about where she went to the toilet on the bus, first mistake, and then while she was on the toilet in the bus, they hit turbulence. I don't know what happened.
They did.
And the door swung open and she then flashed her O'Driscoll at the coach, Lisa Webb.
And they said from that point on, they've never been closer.
No.
There's nothing to hide anymore. Is there?
That's a reason why you don't go on the toilet bus. As a teenager, because I went to school in Perth, but my parents obviously live in Esperance, and so I used to have to catch what was then called the West Rail bus from East Perth station all the way down to Esperance, 10.5-hour bus ride, and there were toilets on that bus, and I never used it because I could not think of anything grosser than the toilet on that bus. It's
But what
gross.
happens when you're busting?
You just wait until there's a stop and you get off in Dumbleyung and you go to the toilet there, Sean. Do what civilised people do.
Dumbleyung. Shout out to my mate Ricky Mott. He's from there. Could drink a block of 30 cans by himself.
It was also best
It's a
for a
warm-up.
country, I think.
Yeah.
Dumbleyung. Yep.
Hey, we want to talk about this because there's so many different stories
I know.
when people don't like to use the buses, but when they jump on the toilet bus sometimes, anything can happen. Jesse Hogan's not playing this weekend because he broke his finger.
Because of the toilet
or thumb.
door on the bus.
It can get you the toilet on the bus. $100 rooftop movies vouchers up for grab. Plus, you've got your food and drinks are covered.
Yeah, that's
Last chance to experience rooftop movies before the season wraps up. You don't want to miss out.
Make a night of it. All right, we are talking about the toilet on the bus. Have you got a story? Or, look, if it was a plain toilet, if it was a toilet on any form of transport, a train perhaps.
Yes.
I caught a train in Vietnam, and when we went to go to there was like one Western toilet at the far end of the carriage, and when you got there there were chickens in little baskets, like just some chickens sitting on the floor, and I'm like, is that chicken going to watch me pee? Okay, that's creepy. Derek's in Averley. Morning, Derek.
Morning, how are you?
Good, Derek. Okay, talk to us. What sort of toilet did you use and what happened?
Okay, so I am one of those guys. I have to use the toilet everywhere I go. So
Yes.
it's like one of those. But one particular one was, I was on a bus from Perthshire, Scotland, down to London overnight.
Oh, that's a long journey, yeah.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a sleeper bus, but it got changed last minute, so it was only seats. But so I was like, didn't think there was a toilet on board for a little while. Then I discovered it was downstairs because somebody told me.
Yes.
I went down in this tiny little cubicle, and I'm thinking, you have to be a little person to be comfortable in this thing. Literally, I was sort of squeezing myself in just to get the door closed, and I thought, do I sit? Do I stand? What am I going to do? I couldn't sit, so I stood anyway. And there was a little bit of a rough patch, a bit like the story you were telling earlier, and literally I wet myself all over the joint.
Derek.
Might have got over a bump for taking the corner too fast.
Yeah, so literally missed the pan, got right into the crutch of my jeans. Wasn't very comfortable. Of course, trying to wash it is there, so it just looked like I just stood there and peed myself instead of going to the toilet.
I think we're getting a bit of a sense of why women don't like to go into these toilets, because men have been in there doing this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere. Your aim's bad at the best of times, let alone on a moving vehicle.
No defence for me.
Yeah. True, all true. Thanks, Derek. Tam's in Halls Creek. Hello, Tam.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of just around the corner.
Are you in Halls Creek right now?
Right now, yeah.
Unreal.
Good morning, Halls Creek. Okay, talk to us. What sort of toilet were you in?
Oh, well, we were on the beautiful Lake Argyle and obviously consuming a few bevies just on the weekend and obviously survived. But there was a little boat, there was a little toilet on the boat, and it was pretty much obviously pretty disgusting, so it wasn't an option. So option 2 was to do a wee with the Crocs. And we... A few bevies in, and under a bit of negotiation, we decided we'd rather risk getting a little snap from them. And but the funny thing was, we were actually croc watching just a little wee while beforehand.
Yeah.
But we decided to go. Apparently, we're in the waters deeper. They're not. Like, I don't know who came up with that theory, but we did. We all just decided, okay, then we'll jump in together, and if it's your time, it's your time. We all jumped in and did our weeds together in the water.
So, okay, that's quite gross when you think about it, Tam. So bad enough that you're contending with crocodiles, but the fact that you all jumped in together and then did your communal wee. You're all floating around in that water, right?
I know, but it was only number one, and we gave each other a couple of metres.
Okay. There's an exclusion zone.
And had to wait till everyone was in head above. So we had a little bit of criteria laid out before it all happened.
Sean, haven't you swum in Lake Argyle?
Yeah, Tam, I swam in Lake Argyle, and it was on the Saturday when they do the Lake Argyle swim, obviously. They on the Wednesday leading into that Saturday, someone had been bitten by a crocodile for the first time in years. Yeah.
Good
and so we were thinking, oh my God, let alone jumping in there. Oh, I did jump in there on purpose because I had a job to do.
Yeah, out of choice,
Yeah.
Takes a brave soul. Thank you, Tam. Taylor's in Two Rocks. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Taylor.
Okay, Taylor, what's your take on this?
So I am a flight attendant.
Oh, you've seen some stuff.
I have so many horror stories, but one of my probably grossest ones was we had a passenger on board who was flying back from the mine who happened to have an upset stomach for some reason, and we hit turbulence kind of mildly. For us, it's mild. To passengers, they think it's severe, but we hit turbulence, and this gentleman kind of, came crawling out of the toilet, and so he came crawling out of the toilet. We, sat there for a bit, and it started to smell a bit kind of gross.
Yes.
And so we went in, and I went in, and this poor gentleman had diarrhea. And it had gone all up the mirrors, up the walls, completely everywhere in the toilet.
So the timing, why doesn't he clean it up? Why doesn't he clean it up?
Or attempt to?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because they're FIFO workers and they don't.
Yeah, they have everything done for them. You know what it's like, Sean.
I can still wipe my ass and a mirror.
I mean, I'm sure he wiped his ass, but it was just the mirror was somebody else's job. Taylor, the stuff you have to put up with as a flight attendant, we're so sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's hectic.
Yeah,
we are. Yeah, we are.
You see the worst of humanity.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Roger Cook's on the front page of the paper today dressed as Sir Les Patterson, according to the Photoshop.
Yeah. Or did he actually do it like Les Patterson? Because he was getting interviewed, Nat, as part of a deal with the West Australian yesterday. He was up on stage amongst people.
It's a live event.
Yeah, live event.
It was a lighthearted moment, obviously, and he played it for laughs and...
The question that came to him straight away was, in one word, you had to...
Yes, it was a word association game where he's saying different things.
J.D. Vance, he said.
Yeah, and he said, one word, knob.
Everyone in the crowd thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So he played it for laughs at the time, and now he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's had to apologise.
It's such an not unbelievable, but when you're in a position like that as a politician or a statesman, you can't get away with these things.
Everything that you say is scrutinised, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we often have our politicians in here, and a lot of the conversations we have are normal conversations we have amongst people, but we cannot have that on air because someone will get offended along the journey.
Right. That's right. Or it'll be twisted and used out of context and then, put in isolation and you go, oh, that does sound bad in isolation. But in the context of what we're saying, it was all just a bit of fun. I know it's difficult, isn't it? The beauty for me is that I am completely now disengaged from anything political because I've already voted. So the beauty of the pre-poll voting now, one, you don't have to lie and say that you're going to be busy on election day, which you used to have to do. Yep. So now anybody can roll up to a pre-poll voting place. It's not every polling station, obviously, that'll be open on Saturday, but there's one in every electorate. And I did mine last Friday, and we're the same electorate, so you went to that one as well. You've done yours?
Yes, near Hairmart, near our house.
Yes,
that's how I get described.
Very
My
close.
wife rings me, you got to go and vote. It's next to Hairmart. I was like, right.
Next to Numero Uno, which is a restaurant that you recommend to me all the time.
Have you been yet?
No, I haven't.
The Italian food is amazing.
You never invite me to come
Try
on
the
with your
calamari. I can never get in these days, actually.
So, it is just like an ordinary polling place, except fewer queues. Still, there's the volunteers out front handing out the how to vote cards. It's like, you people are relentless.
I know. And the people that work at the polling booth who give you the instruction as well, above the line, below the line, whatever the case is, apparently they get paid a lot to do their hourly rate. It's not
a bad gig. Yeah, one of my friends is doing it across the weekend. She does every election, so she'll be. I think she's she's worked her way up to being like a manager of the polling place, a person in charge. I only know powerful people, obviously.
What would they have to pay you to be involved in a day like that?
Sean.
Because no one wants to be a part of it.
Obviously, a democracy sausage is worked into the package. I mean, this is the downside of pre-poll voting, is that you don't get to partake in the sausage sizzle or the cake stall or whatever the primary school is running in order to raise a few bucks. One of my friends works at a primary school, and she, all the people come through. She's the one who has to show them around, and they're like, "Oh, we need to see the facilities," and she's like, "Hasn't changed since the last time. It's a heritage listed building. It hasn't changed. It's exactly the same. The toilets are the same. Everything's the same." And she has to walk them through. It takes forever. The school doesn't make a lot of money out of hosting it. It's like
I wouldn't have thought
literally just a few $100s. And so that's why they have the stalls and stuff, to actually make it worth their while, because there's a captive audience coming through. But like she said, she would rather not the hassle. But her primary school will be hosting on Saturday.
If you have the opportunity, just do it early.
Like seriously, get it done.
Knock it off.
Get it done. And then you don't have to listen. You don't have to pay attention. If somebody comes knocking on your door, it's like, "Oh, sorry, I won't waste your time. I've already voted." And everyone's a winner then. Oh, my God, it's nearly over. And then we roll straight into the
federal election.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Cyclone Alfred is Category 2 cyclone. It's headed for the southern Queensland coast. Looking like it's going to hit Tweed Heads more than anything, which is a little bit further south than Brisbane.
Yeah, it certainly is. Again, last night I took the opportunity to watch some of the beach action. So the pro surfers are out. So I was just watching Kira yesterday. I was absolutely smoking. One of our teammates over in Brizzy is the great man Lutzy. We've spoken to him many times when it comes to the Olympics in particular.
Yeah, normally he's like somewhere exotic watching international sport, but now he's just in the face of the cyclone.
Fighting it single-handedly.
Lutzy, how are you?
I'm very well, Nat and Sean. It's funny you mentioned, I literally got back from, I'm not even kidding, got back from Hong Kong last night.
Are you serious?
What, do you have the sevens on or something of that nature?
No, they're coming up. There's actually a new, this is amazing new indoor stadium in Hong Kong called the Kai Tak Sports Precinct.
Yeah.
And it's a 50,000-seat indoor stadium.
Whoa.
Where the rugby sevens is going to be. It's brand new. It was actually, so they took me over around all the Olympic stuff we're doing here in Brisbane to have a look at this stadium and the whole precinct. So
you're not building the stadium for the Brisbane Olympics. Why are you doing a site visit?
Not yet, Nat. Not with that attitude.
What are you, a breakfast radio host and engineer in your spare time?
Look, surely by by now you guys know that I have I've got fingers in a lot of pies.
What?
So, Lutzy, I mean, you raise a good point, though, in that Brisbane is trying to get ready for the Olympics in 32, and, you know, that now they're bearing the brunt of Cyclone Alfred. Is this just going to clear the way so they've got to, you know...
Well, it might be the easiest way for us to level the Gabba because they're saying 160-kilometre-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
Like, this is, as I said, I was in Hong Kong, so I was doing the show for her, obviously, so I was aware of this impending sort of Armageddon, which is coming our way. But I can honestly say, like, because the weird thing is, we don't have cyclones in Brisbane. Like, I think the last one was in 1980 or 80s or something. Like, it's we just don't get it this far. Do you guys get them in Perth?
No, I mean there was one like
Northwest,
that. It was,
perhaps.
Yeah, no, not in Perth though. So,
no, absolutely.
So
not.
Brisbane and Perth are kind of on a par. Yeah.
We get them up north. I guess in my mind, you guys would get them up in Broome or something. Like, we
Port Hedland.
Yeah. So, like, this is a sort of untapped area for us, and it's very strange because you're getting all these specific reports now, particularly the last sort of, I guess since last night, where before then it was speculation of coming down the coast. It might, and now they're pretty much, every expert we speak to now saying, no, this thing's going to hit. It is on the way. And they're pretty much saying, look, today is the day to get everything sorted, get all the furniture indoors and make sure things, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you're safe, your family's safe, your pets, everything. They're saying by tonight because come Thursday, somewhere between probably 3 p.m. Thursday and 8 a.m. Friday, it's gonna make land, and obviously somewhere they reckon around Brisbane, maybe slightly north. There's even talk of northern New South Wales being impacted by this.
Yeah.
And the thing is, while it's a cyclone and it's wind, it's going to bring a lot of rain and moisture as well, which means that they're talking floods of the scale that we've had here in recent years, which could obviously impact literally tens of thousands of residents.
Yeah, remember the Brisbane floods a few years ago?
They were so full on.
Next level.
Lutzy, with the flooding situation, obviously, you know, when you're seeing on the news, everything, they put a bit of GST on it when they can. So there's a lot of people doing the sandbagging thing. Is that something that you're just seeing on the news? Are you actually seeing that out and about?
Well, again, I've only just rocked back in. It's been all over the news this morning, you're right. But in Hong Kong, I wasn't having too many dramas. But, I don't know why I've come back, to be honest. But, no, it's a thing. Like, I know there's like 5 or 6 different stations around Brisbane at the moment where they reckon there's huge lineups. I mean, I haven't seen it personally, but I think people are. It just seems like every couple of years we've been copping it in Brisbane. So people are more aware of the damage and how quickly it can happen. And I think it's certainly. Yeah, I think we've been spooked previously, and because of that, people are super vigilant and making sure they've got things tied down and ready to go before this hits on Thursday and Friday. The other thing I have noticed as a side, other than the AFL Thursday's been pushed back to round 3, so that Brisbane-Geelong game won't be happening. Even NRL, the Dolphins were due to play this weekend up here. They've switched that game down to Sydney. So when the two major footy codes are making efforts like this, you know it's pretty serious. But have you guys seen the surfing?
Yes. Sean won't stop talking about it.
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen, Sean, in my life, I've never seen those famous beach breaks from Kira and Jaramba and Snapper Rocks and everything. I've never seen the power. It genuinely looks like North Shore Hawaii at the moment. It is out of control.
Yeah, I've been watching it over the last couple of days on YouTube. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed because all the pros are in town. Everyone's rolling in jet skis and getting towed into them. And actually, for me, whilst you say the Hawaii thing, it looked like J Bay in South Africa, these mad tubes that were going on for, 500 or 600 metres.
The power of them. And that's the other thing, because we're used to, for people that know the Gold Coast, like Snapper Rocks is obviously the famous break, but they're not. They're sweeping all the way through Rainbow Bay, which is like a family beach, through Greenmount Beach, all the way to Kira. These waves are curling for, as you said, 500 metres. Like they actually had to call off. There was a huge surf wave riding competition supposed to be this week. It got called off because the surf was too big.
I mean, that's crazy. Can we spare a thought for the guy who was rowing across the Pacific? The guy, he'd rowed from San Diego. It's a 12,000 kilometre crossing. He got to within 740 k's of the Queensland coast and had to be rescued because of the
just
cyclone.
rides one in. He doesn't even have to use the oars. Just rides one in.
Exactly right. You can't even fathom, guys. They reckon, someone said yesterday that there's 16 metre, not foot, 16 metre. Imagine this guy looking, just having a quick glance behind him.
A block of flats coming out.
You've just rowed 11,000 kilometres, and you're like, okay, I have to get rescued now. That's rough, isn't it?
It's fair to say you'd be a little flat.
And what was it like flying in for you? Was there rough weather coming in from Hong Kong?
No, honestly, you wouldn't even have known, but they do say that flights will be heavily affected from today onwards. I dare say that there'll be a full shutdown. If they're saying it's coming as intensely as it is, I think the airport, so if you've got plans to be flying into Brisbane, I'd certainly maybe make some changes there. Particularly, they reckon Thursday, Friday's when it hits landfall, and then Saturday, Sunday, there's going to be a huge rain event as well, which is when that flooding will be a big problem. So, it's pretty serious stuff. So fingers crossed that somehow but that averts the coast. But at this point, they're just checking.
It's coming.
20 minutes ago, we had a meteorologist saying, no, it's coming. It's on its way. So lock it down,
Hey, Lutzy, as we know, I'd imagine that a lot of people have been told to stay home, right? Not come into work. But, given that you work for Nova like us, you would be forced to come in and
No, he's just been working from Hong Kong. He's not going in.
What are you doing?
You're
working from home? Days?
Well, what were they calling us during COVID? We were the
frontline workers.
Frontline workers or something. We were. We are. The old wireless. This is when the wireless gets its true power during these events when people rely on the Seans and the Nats of this world to keep them connected, and that's why we will have jobs forever. Until the ratings club.
Yeah, sounds like the good people of Queensland are in great hands, Lutzy. Well, good luck. I hope you live on a hill.
Oh, of course I do. The years have been very kind to me, obviously. That's what 20 years of Nova salaries do to you. I look down from my castle, as I'm sure you fine people do. I'll be over there soon. I'm over there for the National Athletics Championship, so I'll make sure I drop in and
honestly, can you come in?
Yes.
No, I'd love to. Guys, I'd love to. Love you guys.
Yeah, right. That'd be great.
Great work. Stay safe, Lutzy. Stay safe.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Time to welcome into the studio. We're in the presence of a great here, Sean.
Oh, Australian royalty.
Yes. He's been in just about everything. Welcome, David Wenham.
Oh, very good. Just about everything.
You have been in just about everything.
Have. Don't you reckon? I mean, I'd imagine people are coming at you with different shows that they recognise you from. Straight away, when we were promoting it yesterday, and I just went to Van Helsing.
Oh, my God.
Straight away. I know, but that's just one, that's one thing that I went to, let alone what everyone else is going to.
Well, I mean, there's a certain generation of Australian women who go straight to sea change, obviously. As Diva Dan, you were, a sex symbol, let's face it.
Which was ridiculous, considering that I didn't... honestly, when I was doing that, I didn't actually realise he was the leading man.
Yeah, right.
I thought I was just playing some goofy, fisherman on the side.
Yes.
And I went away and did a movie in Hawaii while the whole thing was aired, the first season.
Yes.
Didn't know what was happening in Australia, and then I came back, stepped off the plane, and suddenly
and you're
found
the
out
thinking woman's crumpet.
And I say,
that's right.
What happened?
Well, so it is quite a step then for you to go from Diva Dan, where like half the country was in love with you, to the character John Francis Spiteri, Spit. The opening scene of this movie that you're here promoting is you in the tightest pair of skinny jeans I think have ever appeared on screen.
Yeah, they're painted on.
How long did it take you to get into those alone?
Well, there's a bit of a secret behind them. We shot Johnny Spiteri in London for one day a year before we shot this movie, and I was just workshopping the character. Yes. So I went on the hunt to find Johnny Spiteri's costume, and I found it in a charity store in London, and the jeans were in a women's section.
Yes.
And they look really, really small small, and I thought, oh, bugger that, I'm going to try to put them on.
Give it a crack.
And I did, I put them on, and I was amazed that they actually sort of fit. I took them up to the lady to pay for them, and then she informed me that they were maternity jeans.
Oh!
So which is why they actually had that wonderful sort of elastic thing. So, yeah.
Amazing.
So, and that's what I wear in the movie.
Skinny in the leg and then ample in the...
That's right.
David, when I was seeing this, and John Francis Spiteri, so it reminds me of my brother-in-law.
Everybody does know one of these
and you
people,
just mentioned that where you bought the jeans from, but he would go to op shops and stuff, and he would buy some funky stuff, from old school gear, and it just looks amazing on him.
Shirts.
And he's never changed. He always wears this kind of get-up, but he's just famous around all of our kids' friends and stuff like this. Here he comes again.
He actually looks cool, does he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny is exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
He gets his clothes from there, but doesn't look cool.
He's a very unattractive man. I mean... You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, he is, and he's got
You're not going to capture any hearts with this character.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? His mullet's still there, but he's a bit, he's got a bit of a bald patch now on the back of his head, and his cold sore gets a little bit better over time. But when he gets stressed, the cold sore does get much redder and slightly pussy.
Yes, and he's a bit of a scumbag at heart, really. I mean, I think...
not at heart.
Not at heart. Yeah, that's true.
He's got a good heart. He's got a good heart. He's
and some childhood trauma.
He's got a lot of childhood trauma, and he's had he's been to the school of hard knocks, but he still tries to do his best, and people love him.
David, when you're fleshing out this as a... It's not a sequel, is it? It's not a prequel.
It's a spin-off.
Spin-off, yes.
Yeah. I was... So your writer, the writer, is it Chris?
Chris, yeah.
Yeah. So he had a lot to do. Is he a criminal lawyer?
Yeah, very well-known criminal lawyer on the Gold Coast. So, the characters in Getting Square were very close to him.
Yep.
He'd seen somebody like Johnny Spiteri in the docks, and he couldn't quite
Probably
work
every day.
out. Yeah, but this particular guy, he couldn't quite work out when he was, up giving evidence, if he was the dumbest person he had ever seen, or the smartest person he'd ever seen.
It's a
and
fine line.
That was the seed for the creation of Johnny.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, was kind of planted? Was an idea of coming back to?
No. There was never any idea of doing any sort of Spiteri-esque work again. It came about 10 years ago. Independently, I was just talking to a friend of mine and said, comedy for me is my strongest suit, I think. Yep. But I never get the opportunity to play with it very often.
Yes.
So we started talking about Spiteri, and I started to, think about all the different scenarios you can put him in. And he said, there's something in that. So I rang Chris Neist, and he said it's amazing because myself and Jonathan Toplitsky, the director, have actually been writing a movie for Spiteri.
Wow.
So that happened 10 years ago, and the first draft was unbelievably good, and it's taken us 10 years to make the movie.
And that's a long time for a project to reach fruition. Is that normal in the movie world? That it take from what
normally,
to go?
Yeah, normally if you get a good run, it's about 6.
Yeah.
But this was 10, and the difficult thing is literally just raising the finance for it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so hard to get an
Surely the David Wenham name helps in that department.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it hindered it, and that's why we went for 10 years.
I don't know.
Hey, Dave, when I've seen you do so many different things all around the world, I always wondered, sometimes it's hard for Australians to break into other roles around the world in big budget movies.
Yeah.
But to me, from the outside, it never has seemed to be that way for you.
You pop up everywhere.
You pop in Lord of the Rings, obviously, you're part of that trilogy, and there's so many more that I've mentioned, but has that...
It's a tricky one.
Being casted for you is not a...
Look, I think it's a combination of you've got a bit of modesty here, but you do have to have talent to start with.
Yes, of course.
But you do have to have a fair amount of luck as well at the same time. It's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one.
Did you ever do the whole thing where you go all in LA, move to LA, do the whole audition thing over there, or do you always just work from Australia?
Australia's my home and always will be. And when I've got 2 kids now. One of them's 21, one's 16. As soon as they were born, I made a very conscious decision that they were not going to be brought up in Los Angeles through the American education system. Because basically it's broken. Unless you've got a lot of money and you send them to private school. But it's broken. So therefore, I came back to Australia, and luckily I got work whereby like a FIFO worker, really.
Yes.
I can do jobs in different places around the world.
Yes.
If I'm lucky enough to,
Because I know that you did do a job in my hometown of Esperance when you filmed Dirt Music down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you played a fisherman.
That's right. Typecast as a fisherman.
I can play a fisherman, don't you worry about that.
And the very next question is, and do you fish? And it's like, I'll pass on that question.
I'm Australia's worst fisherman. I am.
I think we'd battle it out, I reckon.
That shows what a great actor you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Dave, is there any other big roles that along the journey that you had the opportunity to do that you never took up for whatever different things come up at different times?
There is one, but I won't talk about it now.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes, that's right.
See, comedy genius.
Yeah, that's right. No, unfortunately, Robin Williams got that one. But, there is one, on my deathbed, I might let that one out.
Okay.
So
it's an interesting story.
Is it regret? Are you like, I was an idiot for passing that up? Or was it
I
just
wasn't
like
an idiot.
circumstances?
I was actually cast as that person in the role, but right at the very last minute, and the contracts were done and whatever, they said, and do you have such and such a passport? And I said, no. And they said, well, you need to do it the way the film is financed and whatever, the series is financed.
Yep.
And I said, I don't, and so I couldn't do it. And the really weird thing is, now I find out about my heritage, and we won't tell anybody this. I've actually just become joint citizen of Australia and Ireland.
Yes.
Right. And with that passport, basically...
You could have done it.
Yeah. And I didn't know at the time, because you can live and work in, the UK and all throughout Europe.
We're going to have a break now so that we can just find names of shows that David will tell us. But is it a really big one?
Yeah, it's massive.
I think I know.
Yeah, my career would have been very different. But
what do you mean it's massive?
I'm not regretting it at all. Well, it just would have been different. It just would have been different, that's all.
Now, we have to let you go because you're about to fly back into the eye of a cyclone.
Thanks for that.
So you're a Brisbane resident.
I spend time in Brisbane now.
And you're heading home.
Yeah. I've got family there who are just wanting me to return to, batten down the hatches.
Are they worried at the moment? We just spoke to our teammate Lutzy over in Brisbane.
I know Lutzy.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a great guy, actually.
I lived in a place with his uncle for nearly 30 years in an apartment block, and we lived on the same floor. His Uncle Michael. Yeah. I met Lutzy quite a few years ago. He said, you know my uncle? And I said, what? He said, yeah, Michael, yeah. And I went, oh, my God, yeah. So that was the connection.
So we say Perth's a small town, but it turns out Brisbane's a small town too.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you're only one person removed from anybody over there.
Yeah, same here too. Spit is in cinemas tomorrow. Check it out.
Oh, definitely.
Even just to see David Wenham in the tightest pair of maternity jeans you will ever see a man wear is an extraordinary character, and you really do bring a lot of life to him. Thanks so much for coming in, David.
Brilliant being with you.
Yes, and good luck heading back to Brisbane.
We
hope it's a very safe journey.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast. Who the AFL is that?
What a superstar he is.
All right, up for grabs because footy's back with a bang. We're about to give away $250 cash and a 12-month KO subscription so you can watch everything.
Absolutely. It's going to be huge. We've got an ex-AFL player on the line ready to answer your questions.
Well, let's hear from our ex-AFL player. Ex-AFL player, hello.
Hello and good morning. How are we today?
We are wonderful.
That's enough from you.
Okay.
Okay, Cody is standing by. You're going to kick us off. Good morning, Cody.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay,
We're wonderful, Cody.
We need to figure out who our ex-AFL player is. It is your job to do that by asking a question that requires a yes or no answer. You get a yes, you can ask another question. You get a no, we'll move on to the next person, okay?
Okay.
All right. What is your question for our ex-AFL player?
Were you a part of one of the WA teams?
No.
Goodbye, Cody.
All right.
Great question, though, because that rules it out. You've done some work for other people. Darren, hello.
How you going, guys?
Hey, good day.
Great, Daz. Okay, what's your question for our ex-AFL player?
Were you a midfielder?
Yes.
Good question.
Great question. You can ask another one, Darren.
Did you win a first and best?
Yes.
Good question.
You're on a roll, Darren.
Okay, Darren, keep going.
Did you play for Collingwood?
Yes.
Darren, you're on a roll.
Okay.
Hopefully you've got another one up your sleeve, Darren.
Yeah.
Is it Ben Medhurst?
No.
Did he mean Paul Medhurst?
It's Paul Medhurst.
Yeah, okay. Also,
and he didn't win a Fairest and Best.
No, and that's not Paul.
No.
It's neither. It's no Medhurst family member.
No, absolutely
not. Josh, hello.
Hello, how are we?
Okay, Josh. So Darren did some fine work there for you. We know that this person played for Collingwood.
Yep.
We know that he won a Fairest and Best. We know he's a midfielder.
That's right. Your question, Josh?
Did you play in the 2010?
Say that again.
2010 grand final? Is that what you're talking about?
No, 2010s. I think the era.
Era, sorry.
No.
No.
Okay,
Goodbye, Josh.
Then. See you, Josh.
So not in the 2010s. Coralie, hello.
Hi, how you going?
Great, Coralie. Okay, what is your question for our ex-AFL player?
Are you over 6 foot tall?
Yes.
There we go. Collingwood 6-footer.
Just showing off now, isn't he? Okay, Coralie, you get to ask another question.
Are you Nick Dacos?
No.
No, it's an ex-AFL player.
Coralie, that was one of the first rules we threw out there. Okay.
Kim's in Oakford. Morning, Kim.
Hi.
All right, Kim, we're narrowing it down.
We are going to emphasise this is an ex-AFL player, so they are not currently playing. We know that they did play at Collingwood. We know that they are a Fairest and Best winner. We know that they're a midfielder over 6 foot. Okay, what is your question?
Is it Nathan Buckley?
No. It is not Nathan Buckley.
Great player, but not Nathan Buckley.
We are really narrowing down on one team, Natalie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something
okay, you're going to throw a clue out?
This person played for more than one side.
Yes. Probably not best known as a Collingwood player,
no.
would you say?
I would say so. I think you're right, Natalie.
Anita, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi,
okay, Anita. What is your question for our ex-AFL player?
No, sorry, I'm no good. I'm not no good with this one.
Do you want to ask anything? Just ask anything.
Have you been in a premiership?
No.
It's a great question.
Good
It actually turns out to be a great question.
Okay.
Didn't win a premiership. Amina, hello.
Hello.
All right. What's your question?
My question is, did you play for Collingwood first, or it has to be yes, no?
Yeah.
Was the other team colours red and blue?
Yes.
Oh, Amina, you pulled that out of the hat, didn't you?
Great question. Okay, you can ask another one, Amina.
This is really going to test me because I'm not a football
aficionado.
Yeah, but that was an awesome question. Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, now I'm stuck. Did you play for Collingwood first?
No.
Before the other team?
I think we might have established that a bit earlier on.
No, we didn't.
Didn't we?
No.
Okay. Right. So what we know so far, we've narrowed it down to two teams.
Right.
Well, the first team played in red and blue,
Yes,
Natalie.
that's right. And then went to Collingwood, won a Fairest and Best, was a midfielder over 6 foot tall. We're really narrowing it down now. Travis is in Baldivis. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Travis, this is on a platter for you if you're any good at this. We're paying for $250 cash and 12-month KO subscription. What have you got for us?
What's your question?
Right, I'm going to go a question, but I reckon I know who it is. But did you coach at East Fremantle?
Yes.
And I will say it is Shane Woden.
Yes.
Yes, it is Shane Woden. Travis, you've done it. Well played. We didn't even have to tell everybody that he won a Brownlow. You've won $250 cash and a 12-month KO subscription. The only place you can watch live Saturday footy every round this AFL season is on Fox Footy, available on KO Sports. That's all yours, Travis. Well done.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Now that we've got the Brownlow medalist, former Brownlow medalist on the line, we better check in with see what he's up to. Shane, good morning.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Nat. How are we today?
We're great. Now, I believe you're up in Geraldton at the moment.
Yes, sunny Geraldton, my hometown. Been up here for representing East Fremantle with Adrian Bromwich, our CEO, and visiting a few people, and a very warm start to the day.
Now, as a coach of East Fremantle, how do you feel about your number one ticket holder this year? Former coach. How do you feel about the number one ticket holder for this year?
Yeah, real excited to have Sean there, Nat.
Yeah.
I've given him his budgies. Ready for it.
Shane's wife, Dee, dropped over some budgies that Shane had for me, budgie smugglers. And I saw them, I was saying this to Wowie the other day, well, they're extra large, and I thought, is my ass that big? Turns out it is. And Shane's is the same.
They were a little tight on, a little snug, were they? Well, you are one of Sean's neighbours. How are you feeling about that? Because we know famously he likes to knock on the door and ask people to do things for him and borrow pieces of equipment and that kind of thing. Has he done that with you yet?
Yeah, we've actually had a couple of times of street drinks and walked past each other when walking the dogs. So yeah, had a couple of street chats. It's been great, actually. A couple of drinks also with Meg and his wife, and it's been terrific. It's been great to be back in Natwood as well.
Yeah, but Shane, you don't strike me as a guy who's out fixing stuff, because Nat alludes to that, because we've got a couple of neighbours around. I always knock on their door to borrow stuff, and I'm no good at fixing anything. I think you're in the same boat as me.
Absolutely correct. My wife, Diane, would say the exact same thing. I've always been one to call someone else for a bit of hand in that area.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you a tip. Don't call Sean.
I'm horrendous. But Wowie, what a great career you had, played 200 AFL games, winning a Brownlow medal. Can you take us back to the year of winning the Brownlow medal in particular, how the season went for you and what a moment that was at the end?
Yeah, it was a great year. We hadn't performed that well as a team in 99, and a bit of a yo-yo effect at the D's at that time with our season performances. And in 2000, I probably didn't start as a mid. I probably started as a back pocket. I think my first game was on Mark Miranda at Richmond in round one. And then I think round 3 I moved into the midfield at halftime against Sydney, and then it stayed there ever since, and just happened to get a few kicks for the year and kick a few goals. And the team got on a roll pretty much halfway through the year and stormed into September and couldn't quite get it done at the end of the year against the Bombers. They were just a powerful team that year, but it was an exciting year. It was full of energy and, really excited. Walked away with the medal at the end of the year. It's a huge surprise. I didn't go in with as a huge fancy, but walked away with it, and, just an exciting night, and celebrated it accordingly, and with friends and family, and ventured to a grand final a few days later.
When that happens, Wowie, when you're not the favourite going, because we see that the favourites, they know to drink a lot of water in the lead up. It's a long night, we know. But if you're not the favourite and you're there and there's free drinks and it's always a night of a bit of fun with the boys, how were you leading up to as the count's progressing? Were you having a couple of frothies, or were you behaving yourself?
I was behaving because I had a game in 5 days, and so I was on the water. But
That's
my
lucky.
manager at the time, John Longmire, did say he wanted me to prepare a speech just in case, so I did. And I thought I was actually going to tie it with Scotty West, because he got the one vote in his last game, which was I think read out the second last game of the year. So we ended up on 22 each, and then I didn't play a great game against the Eagles in the last one, but managed to get the 2 and sit outright. So I probably over-celebrated on that night in the evening, but it was a great night. It was really exciting.
What an amazing thing. Where do you keep your Brownlow? Where is the medal now?
It's somewhere in a drawer or in a cupboard in a little bag. It's tucked away somewhere.
Well, he's recently moved, He's got around to putting everything out there.
It's just in a box somewhere. Yeah.
It is at the moment.
Well, we're gearing up for the start of the waffle season as well. The Mighty Sharks will play a home game. What date is the first one?
Yeah, 5th of April, round 1 versus West Coast at Eastern Mantle Oval, back at our home deck, so really excited for that. Going to embrace the community aspect with no fence and everyone to pop along and watch us play. And I know take the dog, exactly. And I know the boys are really excited to be back, and looking forward to round 1.
It's great because you can watch footy and also go to the skate park. There's not many places you can do that.
It's not many places, exactly. Looking forward to the big season from the Sharks, and keep up your good work, mate. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Margo. Thanks, Nat. Appreciate it.
Great work. Shane Woden, what a legend. Tomorrow, a completely different ex-AFL player.
Where will we go?
Another round.
Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Time for us to get out of here.
Absolutely, Nat. Hey, in the meantime, though, we were very lucky sometimes to get food delivered into the studio.
If this food was delivered, it got here really quickly. You know what I mean? This is a special collab between Grilled Burgers and Oscar Piastri,
Australian F1 driver. You were saying, Nat, when you've really made it, this is the kind of level you get to.
Isn't it just? When you've got a burger named after... it's not just named after him. It is inspired by him. So the colours are black and orange.
Yep.
The burger comes in a black bun. And the sesame seeds on top of it are orange.
Straight
They've gone
from McLaren
all
themselves.
out. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
It's got
they taste good too.
The
Give it a go.
OP81, and it says on the box, all taste, no regrets. And who are we to argue with that? So, yeah, we're having burgers for breakfast. Oh, I'm sorry, not sorry.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.